And welcome to a special episode of UFC Addicts. We are here to cover Dana White's Contender Series. This is an episode 3 of season 3 of the Contender Series. As always, my name is Aaron, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Leyton. What up, buddy? That was
What's up, bro? Okay, so the Contender Series. Last week, not too bad, all decisions. This week,
except for one.
yeah, like we took the same 5 picks, and the parlay looked like it was on until the main event. I'm currently 0 out of 2 on main events for Contender Series, so if I go 0 out of 3, I'm doing something very wrong in my picks for Contender Series.
There's nothing wrong with getting main events wrong. Some of them get main events wrong, so I think that main events are overrated.
Yeah, man, they're overrated. Yeah.
But
So this card,
five decisions. Somehow, two guys got contracts. So okay,
I can't. Who got the contracts? I can't even
the
remember.
Caramel Thunder guy, Baez. After he beat the guy who came in 10 pounds overweight,
Did
and
Miles
then
Johns get one?
yes, Miles
Yes.
Johns.
Okay.
Miles Johns, I think definitely is going to be a factor at 135.
Yeah,
Um,
it was
he
impressive
had
performance. But
yeah,
why do you keep
actually,
taking him down?
yeah. The only guy who had more takedowns on the Contender Series than him,
Who?
Ricky Simone with 15.
Oh, there we go.
Ricky didn't get a contract after his Contender Series fight. He had to go back to LFA and fight title fights. But regardless, he's fighting next week, so we'll talk plenty about Ricky coming up. But
Yeah, your boy's coming up.
this Contender Series is like all the weeks interesting, and like all the weeks interesting for different reasons. Seems like I got the easier end of the stick on the research end this week. Just the way we're deciding who to research on this is I pick the left side and he picks the right side on Tapology.
Yeah.
Great. So this week I had plenty of guys with good records to kind of research a little bit. Guys with like 11 to 15 fights. And even the guy who had 4 fights that I broke down, all of them were on YouTube, and there was plenty on the opponents he fought too. So, but it sounds like you're having a little more of a trouble finding some tape and some sort of grasp on these guys. But let's go ahead and jump into the first fight here at I believe it's 155.
Correct.
And it's between. You want to lead us off?
Yep. Okay. So it's between Jonathan Pearce and Jacob Rosales. I'm gonna go Rosales. Yeah. So Jacob comes into this fight 11 wins, 4 losses as a pro. And just like you said, the tape thing for some guys on the Contender Series, it's hard. Most of the stuff I've seen is like amateur or like 2015. So it's a few years ago. But from watching those fights that are a few years ago, he looks pretty decent back then. He's pretty quick, like fairly well rounded. Even his takedown defense in some of those fights is pretty impressive. Looking at his opponent, Jonathan Pearce, training out of MMA Lab, I think. Not too sure. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so good camp. I've watched his fights, got a bit more tape on him. And I like him. I like his takedowns. He's also very quick. He's got some power. Just well-rounded. His ground and pound in the postured up position is decent as well. Looks for submissions. So this is a decent fight. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the guy that I've seen more tape on. So yeah, taking a shot in the dark, but I'll take Jonathan Pearce via decision.
Okay. I will be breaking down Jonathan Pearce. He's 5'11", lightweight out of MMA Lab, 8-3, currently on a 4-fight win streak. He hasn't fought since September of last year, however. But he's faced pretty okay competition throughout his career. He's had a few finishes in his 2 Bellator appearances, both on the prelims. But so you kind of get a mixed bag with that on the prelims with Bellator, but still has a couple on the decently large stage. He released a highlight video about 6 weeks ago or so, and he goes by JSP in it. So definitely he thinks highly of himself, and I think that's kind of a good way of looking at him. He's a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got some good strikes. He's nowhere near GSP, obviously, but he fights a similar type of model to GSP. He's got good wrestling. He's got some slams in there. And being the taller guy, he'll be able to maybe lift and slam him. But he doesn't look like the most bulked up guy for the division. So as a result, I think his gas tanks look good. And I think that he's been looking to make a show, make it to the show for a while, and I think he's going to be going for the finish here. His opponent, Rosales, I was able to watch a few of his fights, and toughness, definitely one of the number one attributes I give to Rosales, which also means you're getting hit a lot. And I think Pearce can be taken down, but I don't see Rosales being a guy to test the takedown here. I think it's going to be a stand-up fight, and I'm going to agree. I'll take Pearce, and I'm going to say he gets a finish in round 2 by TKO.
Nice.
But Rosales is definitely tough, and I could see him winning this fight. He's got more fights, actually, at 15 compared to 11. I think he'll be the stronger guy, but I think he'll also just be on the receiving end of a little too much damage. So I'll take Pearce. I would anticipate Pearce being the favorite, but
I think these odds are going to be close. Some of the closest we've seen.
Yeah.
Because most of them, even like the smallest favorite is like close to a -2. So like what's the closest odds we've had so far? Algio versus Brendan?
Probably. Yeah, I would have to go back and look, but I'm not sure. But on paper, it seems like a lot of these fights are properly matched up, actually.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we'll see. But I think that could be a good fight. That's one of the fights on here I really am looking forward to. I'll point out the other one when we get to it.
It's a good opener.
Yeah. We'll move on to the middleweight division.
Correct.
With a fight between Maki Coconut Bombs Pitolo. Sorry on that last name. Pitolo, though. I was just thrown off by the nickname of Coconut Bombs. Versus, James Sumter?
Justin Sumter. I don't know what his cage name is.
Justin the Fort Sumter.
Yes.
Which is ironic because there's a fort in America. It's like a landmark. It's a very, very funny joke by Justin. Sorry I didn't realize his name there. My bad. I will be breaking down Maki Pitolo, also known as Coconut Bombs. He is the 28-year-old. He's 5'10". He's got a record of 11-4 with 4 TKOs and 2 submissions. Currently on a 2-fight winning streak. His last fight coming by rear naked choke in Bellator on the prelims again. Maki seems to have some pretty good transitions in the grappling game to submission. Seems like he's maybe a little too willing to get taken down at times and feels pretty comfortable in his guard. Seems like on the feet he has some decent power as well. And my real concern is just his willingness to let the fight get to the ground and him not being able to pull off the transition needed to sub his opponent, who's been on the Contender series. He did get the doors blown off him kind of by Ian Heinisch, but we've seen how good Heinisch is, and I'm going to go with Justin Sumter, even though I didn't know his first name completely until just now. But I'm going to take Justin Sumter, and I'll take him for a decision win here. Yeah, I'll take Sumter. I think he'll be a decent favorite.
Nice. Okay, so Justin Sumter comes into this fight 7 wins, 2 losses as a pro. Like you said, he's already fought on the Contender series against Ian Heinisch. Brutal finish with the elbows. I rewatched it earlier and I didn't realise, but Sumter's mouthpiece actually flies out of his mouth during those elbows. Like I knew it was bad. I didn't know how bad. It was vicious. So yeah, since that loss,
people said a gum shield.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Those elbows were so powerful. It was just.
I thought you called it a mouthpiece a gum shield.
Yeah, same thing.
Don't ever call it a mouthpiece again, Leyton. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So since that brutal TKO, one
Where
fight,
what happened?
um, brutal elbows, postured
And
up.
what happened with the thing in Sumter's mouth?
The mouthpiece, it flew.
No, the gum shield.
The
All
okay,
right.
the gum shield, it flew. Okay,
Thank you. Okay, carry
it
on.
it was bad, right? So since that loss, one fight at Bellator, and he finished that fight by neck crank. So
Hmm.
decent win, decent result. But if you're Justin Sumter and you've seen how well Ian Heinisch has gone on to do in the UFC, you've got to be hungry. You have to be very, very hungry. Because if you're Sumter, you're thinking that could have been me. That could have been me flying over to England for Tom Breeze to pull out. You know. So yeah, I can't really disagree with you. Once again for Pitolo. I've seen a few fights, some a few years ago, most of them a few years ago. I did see him get knocked out in one of his fights, and he was basically running forward like Verdum style, and he just got clipped on the side of the ear and just went to sleep. And that was about 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago maybe. So I don't know how good how much he's improved since then. But I think Sumter's probably going to be very hungry to have a good performance. So I'm going to take him to get a finish in this one. I'm going to take Justin Sumter via submission in round number 2.
Very nice. Yeah, I think Sumter could get a. Yeah, I think that the first two fights are pretty good. But yeah, we do agree so far.
I thought we would have disagreed by now.
Yeah, well, we'll see moving forward here. This next fight coming up is definitely the fight of the night for me. I get that feeling. So, it's at bantamweight and it's between Chris Ocon, I believe. I'll go with
Hmm.
that, and Hunter Azure. I will be breaking down Chris Ocon, the 23-year-old. A couple guys fighting out of Tennessee tonight, I've noticed too. Pearce was also out of Tennessee. Chris as well, fighting out of Nashville originally. So Chris Ocon, 23 years old. He is 4-0 with two TKOs and one submission. Interesting little stat about Ocon is that each fighter that he's beaten, after he's beaten that fighter, they have not lost since facing Ocon. So it's only 4 fighters he's fought, but I think that when I'm breaking down a 4-0 guy, I've got to kind of look for any sort of information I can grasp, and part of it is looking into the competence of his opponents. And for all 4 of his opponents to have not lost since facing Ocon is significant. Only one of them has only fought one time since. Every other one of them has fought 3 or more times since and has not lost since facing Ocon. So I find that pretty impressive. And Ocon, all of his fights were online, so I was able to watch them. He seems pretty well rounded. Reminds me of a guy who made his debut against Rione Barcelos a few months ago, Chris Hoychin. He was a Puerto Rican fighter. I think that Chris Ocon, he kind of fights similarly. He walks down his opponents a lot and starts throwing pretty hard shots, effective shots. He's mostly boxing based. I'd like to see him include a little more kicks, but he also is very opportunistic. When he's gotten knockdowns from a punch, he jumped right on the back in his debut and got the rear naked choke on his opponent, who has since been on a 5-fight win streak. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him at some point in the Contender series. But yeah, I know that his opponent, Hunter Azure, also a very good opponent. He's been in LFA, I believe, and he's had some really solid performances, really well-rounded, and that's what I think Hunter's going to have to do in this fight is he's got to make this a full MMA fight. If it's a stand-up brawl type of fight, I'll take Chris Ocon all day. And so I think he can hurt him. I think that these are 2 good guys. I think this will be fight of the night. I think if he does get taken down, I think he'll work hard to get back up immediately. And yeah, I'm going to actually take Chris Ocon, and I'm going to take him to get a TKO in round 3, and I fully anticipate him being one of the biggest underdogs on the card, actually.
Nice. Yeah, pretty much agree with the most part of your breakdown there. And a lot of what you said for Hunter is going to basically show in what I'm about to say. So Hunter, 6-0 as a pro, 4 finishes in his 6 pro fights. Another guy fighting out of the MMA lab, so a decent camp for this guy. And yeah, everything I've seen from this guy, I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. He's very quick. His strikes are very accurate. And when he hurts his opponents on the feet, he looks to take them down. Which, most people hearing that, you might think, well, if he's got someone rocked on the feet, shouldn't he be trying to finish him? Maybe, killer instinct is a huge part in being successful in the cage. But that's rare, it's kind of rare to see a guy hurt someone on the feet then look for the takedown. But I like it. It's his own style, and it's in a way soul taking. So, like you said, you'd expect Hunter to make this a full MMA fight. And from what I've seen in his pro fights already is exactly that. He hurts his opponents on the feet and instantly looks to grapple, which is, like I said, it's rare. It's rare, but it's his own style. In his last fight, he did get dropped, but, instantly got back up and hurt his opponent and instantly looked to take him down. So he's already been dropped. He knows what it's like to get his chin cracked, and he got back up. So everything I've seen from this guy has just been very impressive. Chris, I've seen a couple pro fights. One of his pro fights, I wasn't too impressed with his forward pressure. Like, his forward pressure was there a lot. I can see what you're saying about his toughness. But he couldn't. I'm not sure who he was fighting, but he had a very hard time with closing the door. He was doing a lot of walking forward and following the opponent, but there wasn't much, strikes landing at all, to be honest. So, I see him having a hard time trying to figure out Hunter. But yeah, this is going to be our first disagreement. I'm going to take Hunter to get an impressive TKO in round number 1.
Wow. Yeah, that's fair enough. I definitely could see where you're coming from. I think that Hunter's going to be the way bigger. It will be the bigger guy and the stronger guy. And what I'm hoping is that Chris can kind of draw, or what I'm anticipating / hoping, I guess. I don't really care. I don't have a horse in this race, but is that Chris Ocon is able to draw him into his kind of fight. And I just kind of respect the fact that he can win ugly early on, but then looking at the fighters he's faced after they've faced him, they've all gone on to have impressive finishes. I've been able to watch a few of their fights afterwards, and they've looked better after fighting him. So there's something to be said about a guy who can make a guy perform not at his best in there. So it's a good attribute to have. But fair enough on the disagreement. I do think that Azure will be the heaviest favorite, or one of the heaviest favorites on the card.
If you was to ask me now, 1 week out, after looking at everyone on this card, who would you give the contract to? I'm going to say Hunter. But like I said, and like you said, Chris is 4-0, Hunter's 6-0. We've just seen Castro and Alton have the similar record, and a massive line difference and a complete different result in the octagon.
Yeah, either way, I mean, in your first 7 or so fights, you're going to have things happen like what happened to Justin Sumter or that kind of stuff. So, I mean, neither of these guys are locks, I would say, just because 4-0, 6-0. They are still learning at this point. And we have another 6-0 fight in our next fight of the night, which is at light heavyweight, and it's between Antonio Trocoli, Malvadeza is his nickname, and he's facing Ymir Kenneth Bergh. Ymir is his nickname. Anyways, I will be breaking down Antonio Trocoli the best I can. This is one of the guys I ran into that wasn't able to find a whole lot about him tape-wise. He's 11-3, and he's got 1 KO and 3 subs in those 11 wins. He's a 6'5", 205er, so he's Gustafson Jones size. 28 years old. 2-fight winning streak. From what I was able to find, he does appear to be more of a grappler than anything. I think Trocoli needs to keep this fight at a distance on the feet. Use that 6'5" frame, avoid the clinch with Bergh, who seems to like the use his strength, snatch up the neck. If Trocoli can get it to the ground somehow, I'm just not sure how, then I assume he could test the sub-defensive Bergh, but I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Bergh's going to be able to kind of bully him a little bit and out-grapple him perhaps, and I'll take Bergh by decision.
Nice.
Not a super confident one.
Decent. Okay, Kenneth Bergh comes into this fight 6-0 as a pro. It's been 2 years since his last fought, and everything I've seen, it's just basically him snatching the neck. If he gets your neck, he's going to squeeze it, and he's not going to let go until you tap. That's basically everything I've seen from this guy. He's a monster at 205. He's a big guy. Trocoli's going to be the taller guy, but for mass and strength, it's all on Kenneth's side. Striking wise, not really much. There's not much. Just snatching the neck. That's all he's doing. And he probably does it again here. Maybe does it again here, but it's been 2 years, like I said, since he's last fought. And I'd like to assume in those 2 years that he's got better, but you don't know that until you see it. So, Trocoli is probably the more seasoned striker from what I've seen, but yeah, I'll take Kenneth via neck snatch in round number, let's say 2.
Okay. Fair enough. It's a long neck at 6'5", so.
Got that Stefan Struve neck.
Yeah, oh, God, that guy. I remember him.
Yeah. The giraffe. The human giraffe.
Yeah, the useless human giraffe. Let's move on to the main event, your favorite part. I'll go ahead and introduce us, since apparently you're the black magic of
Contender series.
Yeah. So, congratulations. Welcome to the club.
Doesn't feel good.
This is between... I love it a lot. This is between Jesse James, which is his nickname. His real name is just James Wallace, and Joseph Solecki. Joseph Solecki sounds like he should be working in an office or something, doesn't it? Just like Joseph Solecki, the insurance agent. But the guy looks like one too. Hopefully he doesn't fight like one. I'll be breaking down James Wallace. The 26-year-old, he is 9-2, 2 TKOs, 7 submissions. That is 9 finishes and 9 fights. He's currently on a 4-fight submission streak. The guy appears to be a really exciting lightweight who's not afraid to get in there and trade and possibly get taken down due to another guy who has a very effective guard, but I'm even more impressed by his guard than someone like Coconut Bombs. I love that nickname, though. I was able to see James Wallace throw several arm bars, triangles, and he's been successful multiple times with them as well. So he's definitely an action fighter and a guy Dana White I think is going to like a lot. He has to get the win, obviously, but I think on the feet, James is far superior, and it's pretty close on the ground. So I say if it stays standing, James Wallace wins, and I think he can put him away in round 2. So I'll take James Wallace by a round 2 TKO.
Decent. Okay, Joseph Solecki comes into this fight 7-2 as a pro, 5 wins via submission. Once again, with these Contender Series fights, there's some fights you're just blessed with amateur fights, and that's basically what I've been given with Solecki. But both guys look like they want to be using their grappling, looking to sub the opponent, and that's basically what we see with both of these guys. Your claim is James Wallace is more advanced on the feet. I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, it's really hard to decide who's more advanced out of these two. And if I was going to choose who was more advanced with the grappling, I would have said James Wallace. So with you saying the stand-up is more advanced, that just confirms my pick. But yeah,
Yeah, I think on the ground it's even at best for Solecki.
Yeah, so I'm anticipating a main event grappling match with both guys here, and I'm 0-2 on main event. So I took Jamie Pickett week 1, and I took Alton week 2. So I'm not going to go 0-3 here. I think James Wallace. You confirmed it to me. He's more advanced on the feet. I believe if I had to pick, James Wallace is probably a little bit better at grappling, but like I say, both guys want to use their grappling. So stylistically, it's a good fight. But I'll take James Wallace via submission in round number 2.
Fair enough, fair enough. And we're on to the main card. Oh, wait, that's the end of the Dana White Contender Series. That's a little improv for you. I've been thinking about becoming an actor. But anyways, it just getting warmed up here. But yeah, it's done. And unfortunately, the Dana White Contender Series, as we're recording here, is dark this week. So we'll have to wait till Saturday to watch John Jones.
But you know what we do have tomorrow? Not that anyone cares. We have the women UK England versus USA women. So
yeah. Yeah, see, with that's how much I didn't care. I had no idea what you were referring to. This is great. Because if we win, we don't care. If we lose, we don't care. And both ways, you're going to care tremendously. So,
well, I can tell you this. I have no care for women's football, but my American girlfriend is very pumped and she wants to win. So £10 on England's women.
Well, I'm not going to say your girlfriend's name, but tell her to shut up. Enjoy the Contender Series, everybody. If you listen to this, you're the ultimate savage. So we appreciate you. And enjoy the Contender Series. Enjoy the fights. And good luck on your bet.
Yep, appreciate you all, guys. We'll catch you for the West Coast card next.
Sounds about right.
Yep, okay. Peace out, guys.
Shout out to Multiplex Media.
Peace.